this is Rosa Kelly. Welcome to a new video class. So today we're going to start with the Winter Valley collection by Stamperia. First, I'm going to give you a look at what comes with the kit if you purchase the kit, and then the additional supplies that we are going to need to create this book. So as I mentioned, the collection is called Winter Valley. So we have the 12 by 12 paper collection. Of course, I absolutely love the images, the little animals, the houses. It's just so magical, so whimsical and perfect for winter, Christmas, any book that you want to create. Just look how cute is this. So we're just going to be playing with the 12 by 12. We have some different cut parts. I love these cute little kind of like ornaments. So a lot of fun things that we can cut and use throughout our book. Also, with the kit you receive the chipboard pieces. So I already opened everything up and I'm ready to start working with these, but all kinds of different little images, animals, just super cute. Then as part of this kit you're also gonna get some seam binding, some of these what do you call this, like a naturey twine. Then we have some chipboard pieces here with a snowflake and this other one that says let it snow. And we also have a die set with these. Let me show you. So first we have a tree, and then we have this little piece here that you can cut on white and kind of add it as the snow for the tree. So super fun. And then we have all kinds of little pink and white flowers here to add to our book. So that is what comes on the kit. Now for the additional supplies, I have here my magnets. So these are 10 by 1 magnets. All of these supplies are always listed on my Amazon store. So if you want quick links to all of these, I'll have that on my craft room section, I think it is. And then we have the art glitter glue. So I'm going to be using that. And then some double-sided tape here. So I used the 3/8 of an inch double-sided tape. Also I get that from Amazon. And then the cardstock I get from Michaels for the most part. So we're gonna be using the 65-pound cardstock for the lightweight and the 110 for the heavyweight for the pages. And then we're gonna be using some chipboard. So I have two pieces of 8.5 by 11 chipboard. Then in addition to that we may also need some brads. So I just keep all my brads in this little container, and these are good to make things move, spin around, and all of that fun stuff. And besides this, I think just your regular craft tools. And yeah, so now let's go ahead and start with the base. So to make this book, we are going to start with the chipboard. We're gonna cut two pieces at 8 by 10. So I'm just going to cut this at 10 here, and we're gonna do this by 8. And we're going to do 2 of those. So 10 here first by 8. Okay, I'm trying not to shake the table too much. And then for the spine, we're gonna cut one piece at 8 by 2. So I'm just using some leftover of my chipboard from other projects for the spine here. And then we're gonna save this if you have extra, because I'm gonna use this to our volume to the cover on some of the pages. And okay, so now that we have the chipboard, we are going to bind these using the lightweight cardstock. So I'm just gonna join together maybe 3 of these. So let's add the glue, and we are going to add that. Let's move this here, and then I'm going to add this other This right there. Okay, and I'm gonna save this one, and then we're just going to go ahead and glue the chipboard down. So I'm gonna add some glue. Okay, and let's put this right there, and then we're gonna leave a little space between these two pieces and add this right here, and then we're going to do this again. Okay, so we're just gonna glue this down. There we go. Okay, so now we are going to cut the corners. Okay, so you want about 1 inch all around, so I think this is fine. I'm not gonna trim it, but I do want to cut the corners here. Okay, so leave a little space when you're cutting away from your chipboard, and same thing on this side and this side. Okay, and then we're going to add the double-sided tape. So I'm just gonna take this out, and let me grab this thing here. There we go. Okay, and then just press down, and then we're going to fold the cardstock. So you want to fold slowly so you don't crack your cardstock, and just press down here, and then we're going to peel off the tape. Okay, so take this out and fold, press down, and then you want to score here on the bending lines. Okay, and then we're just going to do the same on the other side. So a long piece of tape, and press down, and then we're going to fold. Okay, so you want to fold and press down, and then we're going to remove the tape and fold, press down again, and then we're going to score here again on the bending lines. Okay, so now for the sides, we're going to just press down the cardstock so it goes around the chipboard, just like that. Okay, and then we're going to add the tape over here as well, and remove or cut that, and then fold again, press down. Okay, and then we're going to remove and press down. And now we're gonna do the same over on the other side. So you're going to go around the chipboard, and then we're going to add the tape, press down, and then we're going to fold and press down, and then just remove the tape and fold. Okay, so there we go. So that is going to be the outside. Then we're gonna cut a piece of the cardstock, again the lightweight, and we're just gonna cover the inside of the spine. And so this is going to be about 5 by 7 3/4, and then we are going to just glue this down. Okay, and so we're gonna add glue on both sides of this gap right here. So we're just gonna add the glue here. Okay, and then Same thing on this side. And then we're just going to glue this whole thing. Okay, you can add tape there if you want to as well, but I think it works just as good with the glue. And we're just gonna press these here at the center. Okay, so press down and let all that glue set and dry. Okay, and then we're just going to score along the bending lines. Okay, so we're gonna grab the ruler and just score along the bending lines, and then here as well. Okay, so score, and then we're going to start folding, and as you fold you're going to press down on that gap here again to get a nice clean folding line. Okay, and then we're gonna do the same here. Okay, so fold up and score, and there we go. And so that is gonna be the base for our book. And now we're gonna work on the inside of the book. I'm going to use the heavyweight cardstock, so I'm just gonna open these up here, and we're gonna have two sides on this book, so we are going to be calling them side A and side B. So we're gonna work on each separately, and then we're going to add them to the book. And so we're gonna start with the first side. So I'm going to cut my first piece here. This is going to be 9 3/4 by 7 3/4. Okay, so that's gonna be the piece that we're gluing on the inside, and what we're going to start building here. Okay, so we're gonna just put this to the side, and then we're going to cut one piece. This is going to remain at 11, and we're gonna cut this by 7 3/4, and we are going to score along the 11 inches. We are going to score at 1. Let me grab my score tool. Okay, so we are going to score at 1, and we're going to score at 2. Okay, so 1 and 2, and fold along the score line here. Okay, so fold and fold, and then we're going to glue this piece on the left side of our book. Let me grab my glue. Okay, so we're just gonna add the glue here and line these up right there. Okay, and then press down. Then we're going to put these to the side here, and we're going to cut another piece, and this one here is going to be 7 by 7 3/4. And then along the 7 inches we are going to score at 1 and at 2 here again, and fold along the score line. Lost my little thing here. Okay, so score at 1 and 2, and then we're going to fold, and then this is going to go on the other side of our page. Line this up. Okay, and then press down. Okay, so now we have this piece that is going to close and close like that. So next we're going to cut one piece. This is going to be 6 3/4 by 6 1/4, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch along the 6 3/4. So we're going to score and fold. Okay, then let me just put this to the side for now, and then we are going to cut another piece. This one is going to be 10 by 3. Let's do this by 4, and we're going to score along the 10 inches. We're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 9 1/2, and along the 4 inches we're going to score at 1/2 inch, and then we're going to cut the corners. Okay, so just cut these corners here, and then this is going to be a pocket, and we're going to fold along the score lines. Okay, so fold and fold. Now we are going to bring back this, and we're going to open this larger flap, and we're going to put this pocket here on the back. So we are going to add the glue on these 3 sections. Okay, so add the glue, and we are going to place this here. Okay, so just line that up, press down, and press down. Okay, then we are going to glue the other piece, the 6 inch, the 6 1/4 by 6 3/4. We're going to glue here along the top. So just add that at the center and press down. Okay, so we're going to press and press down. So now I'm going to use some of my scrap pieces, and I'm going to cut 2 pieces at 6 1/4 by 2. Okay, so 6 1/4 by 2. And then I'm going to do one piece that is going to be 5 by 2. Okay? And we are going to score these 3 pieces along the 2 inches. We're going to score at 1/2, at 1, and at 1 1/2. Okay, so we're gonna do the same: 1/2, 1, and 1 1/2. And then again here, 1/2, 1, and 1 1/2. And then we're going to fold along the score lines, and we're going to be making these accordion fold pieces here. So fold 1. So again, make another accordion fold. And then same here, accordion fold and accordion fold piece. And then we are going to bring back our page, and then here on this folding up, we're going to be placing first the 2 pieces that are 6 1/4, and so you want to fold it so the inside, or you want to glue it so the middle piece is pointing. You can see how this looks like a little M. So you want the center to be pointing towards the inside of the layout, and we are just going to add the glue right here, and I'm going to add this here on the left side. Okay, so right there. And then we're going to do the same with the other one. So now the center is pointing towards the inside, and add the glue Okay, and we're going to place this piece right there, press down, and then we're going to add the smaller one. Again, the inside is pointing in, so imagine everything pointing towards the center of this layout here. And then we're just going to add the glue and add this right here. Okay, and then press down and press down. Okay, so next we're going to put this aside, and we're going to cut a new piece, and this is going to be 6 1/4 by 6 1/4. And I'm going to use one of my 6 by 6 layouts here, so I'm going to use this one, and we're just going to take this out. Okay, so take that and then take this here. So you want this piece to be about 6 by 6. I'm going to just ink around this here. So I'm just gonna go around just like that. Okay, so just adding a little border here. Okay, and we're going to glue these down. Okay, so I'm just going to add my glue, and I want to add a lot of glue around these because we're actually going to be taking the center out. Okay, so you want to make sure that this is going to stay glued. Okay, and all around the sides. Okay, and then we're just gonna glue these right here at the center. And then, like I said, we're gonna take out the inside, so you can either do that with your X-Acto knife, or you can use your scissors for that. I think it's gonna be easier to use the scissors, but I do want to open these up a little bit so we can start cutting. And so I'm just gonna grab my X-Acto knife, and I'm first just gonna do an opening. Okay, so I'm just gonna take out all the in the center here so we can start cutting. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this Merry Christmas, because then we can also use that somewhere else. Okay, so go like that. Okay, so we're just gonna take this out and then take the center out here too. And you can either go around with your X-Acto knife, depending how good you really are with this. I'm not super good with that, so I'm just going to, I'd rather use my scissors for this. So I'm gonna cut all around the flowers here. So here we have this window piece. Now I'm going to cut another one of these 6 by 6 layouts here, and so we're going to go ahead and ink. I'm just gonna ink very lightly here, and we're going to glue this piece on the inside of our display. So I'm just gonna put this down here first, and then we're gonna glue the other one on top. Now you can also save this area here to just simply put a picture but I'm going to add this image. So I'm just going to place these right here like that. Okay, and then we're going to fold these accordion sections in, and we're going to glue these right on top. And look how pretty this 3D effect looks. So I'm going to add my glue on all of these sections here. Okay, and then this one. Okay, and then we're just going to put these, make sure it matches all the corners right there like that, and then this one's gonna go in. Okay, and then we're just going to press down right here. Okay, so press down and press down. Okay, so now we have our 3D window page. I think it looks really nice like that. Now you can also add a picture or add a photo mat and then just use this as a pocket that you can actually add a picture there. Take this out and you have the background, and you can put a couple because you can fit quite a lot of different photo mats in there, and just switch up the pictures, you know, different occasions you can switch them up, so you always have a different picture displayed in here. Okay, so we're gonna put these to the side. I am going to add a magnet over on this page here for the closure. So let's go ahead and add a magnet right here. I'm just gonna add that, and then we will have a pocket on this on the inside so we can add more pictures there. Okay, so let me just cut 2 pieces of tape like that, and then this one, and then close this up, and then just press down right there. And all of these other areas, I'm just gonna come back and add my paper later once I see how much paper I have left, and I'm definitely going to also combine with other solids cardstock. Okay, so now we're gonna work on the to cut 2 pieces. These are going to be 5 3/4 by 7 3/4. Like that, and we are going to score at 1/2 inch and at 1 inch along the 5 3/4. Okay, so we're gonna do 1/2 inch and 1 inch, and same thing on this one, 1/2 inch and 1 inch, and then we're going to fold along the score lines. Okay, so 1 and 2, and then we're going to bring this here, and we're going to put these 2 pieces on the center here. So I'm going to leave about 1/8 of an inch space from this bending line, and we are going to add this. So I'm just gonna add the glue. Okay, and then we're going to again leave just a little space here and add this piece. Press down. Okay, and then I'm going to open that up and press down. Now for the second one, I'm also going to do 1/4 inch, or no, I'm sorry, 1/8 of an inch, just a little space, but this is going to be a gatefold, and I want to make sure these are going to be touching and there's not going to be a gap on the center, and I also want to make sure there's not going to be they're not going to be overlapping. Okay, so I'm just going to stand this gusset here perpendicular and just gonna hold it like that, and then I'm going to put this one here and see where they meet. Okay, and then just gonna see where this will go. which is, I think, pretty close to the bending line right there. So you can do it like that, and just kind of see if you don't have a little space on the center as a void. Okay, and so just gonna go right here next to that bending line and press down. Okay, so we're going to press and then open this up, press down, and then so now we're gonna stand up our gussets, and we should have a pretty even gatefold section right here at the center. Okay, and so now this is going to open up. We're going to cut 2 pieces at 4 1/4 by 11. Okay. And let's just do 4 1/4 by 11 here. So we are going to score at 5 1/4 and at 10 1/2, both of these. Okay, 5 1/4 and 10 1/2, and then we are going to fold. These are going to be accordion folds that we are going to put on our gatefolds. Okay, so we're just going to fold that. Let's bring this back over, and I'm going to place them on the inside. So we are just going to glue one here along the top. Okay, so that's gonna go right there. I'm just gonna press down, and then we're going to do the other one on the inside of the other gatefold. Okay, so let's add these here. Okay, so press down right here. So now this is going to open down and up and down and up. Then we're going to cut 4 pieces at 5 3/4 by 4 1/2. Okay, so here I have 2, and let's see, I'm trying to use my scrap pieces here first. So 5 3/4 by 4 1/2. Okay, and then 5 3/4 here. By 4 1/2. And we're going to score at 1/2 inch along the 4 1/2. Okay, so we're going to do 1/2 inch, half, here again 1/2 inch, and 1/2 inch here, and then we're going to fold along the score lines. So fold and fold, and then again we're going to bring this back, open your gatefold pages, and we're gonna add 2 on each side here. So we're gonna open that up, and then you're gonna put these 2 along the bottom and 1 on each side like that. And so we're going to add glue, and I'm just going to place this one here, press down, and then we're going to add the other one right on this side, press down. Okay, and then open and open, and then these accordion folds is going to go at the center, and then we're going to close these up, and we're going to add a magnet in there as well. But let's go ahead and glue the other one. So we're just gonna open this up and add 1 on each side. Okay, and this one here, press down, and then open and close this up. And now we're just going to add a magnet. So I'm going to just quickly add, let's place that here. Okay, some magnets. Let's put that right there. And then we're going to add the tape. Okay, so let's cut the tape here, and we're gonna put the magnet and then close this up. And I'm just going to do the same on the other side here. Okay, so this one is going to go like this. Add 2 pieces. Oops. Okay. There we go. And then we're going to add the other one right there. Okay, so now we have the magnets, and then for this section I'm just going to go ahead and add the paper. So I want to use these images here, so I'm going to take this out, and we're going to cut these 2 sections. Okay. Let's just cut. Okay, and I want to use, so for this side of the book, I was thinking I can do everything that's like the daytime, and then on the other side we can do the nighttime. I don't know, I was just kind of thinking about that when we're adding the paper here. Okay, so we're just going to add some ink here on the sides. Okay, and then I'm going to bring this back, and we're gonna glue one on each side. So I'm just going to add my glue here. Okay, so we're gonna put one of these right there, and then I'm going to do this one over on the other side. Okay, so that goes right there. We are going to cut 2 pieces at 8 by 2. So we're gonna do 8 by 2, and we're going to score these 2 pieces here along the 8 inches. We're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 4 1/4. Okay, and same thing here, 1/2 inch and 4 1/4. And we are just going to fold along the score lines. We're going to keep these 2 pieces flat, just like that. And we are going to cut, we're going to use this sheet here, and we're going to cut 2 of these ornaments to add to our page. So I'm going to use that one, and then maybe this one here. Okay, so we're going to cut 2 of our ornaments. I'm going to back them on some cardstock so that way they're a lot stronger. So it's going to be sad to do this, but we're just going to add some glue, and I'm gonna glue that, and then I'm going to do the other one as well, and we're going to cut around them. Okay, so let me move these, and let's glue this one here. Little ornaments. Okay, so we're going to put that right there, and then we're going to cut then we're going to bring this back, and I'm going to glue the ornament on this bottom section. So you want the score line, the 1/2 inch score line along the top, and then I'm just gonna fold this so I can see how I'm gonna glue this, because I want this to kind of come out from outside of the page like that. So we're just gonna glue it like this. Okay, and I'm going to add my glue up here. Okay, and then again I'm just going to make sure that is coming out from the top, and then the extra here, the white space, I'm just going to cut out. Okay, so I'm just going to trim this like that. Okay, so you're going to have these, and then we're going to do the same for the other one. Okay, so about there, and then we're going to trim this out like that. Okay, and so now these two elements are going to go here. So we're going to open and open, and we're going to glue these two pieces along the top here on the back page. Okay, they're just gonna be like hanging ornaments on the page. I'm gonna put them like that. Okay, so we're going to add the glue and place one right here, and then we're going to add the glue and do the other one right about here. So I'm going about 1 inch, or I guess from the bending line here, I'm about 1.5 inches on both sides. Cut a piece at 10 1/4 by 4 1/2, and we're going to score along the 10 1/4. We're going to score at 1/2 inch, and at 9 3/4, and then along the 4 1/2 we're going to score at 1/2 inch, and we're gonna make this really long pocket here and fold along the score lines. Okay, and then we are going to bring this back, open those up, and we are going to glue this pocket here at the center. And whoops, we are going to add the glue. Okay, so I'm just going to add the glue over here and add this pocket right at the center of the page. Okay, so we're just gonna place these right there and press down and press down. Okay, then I'm just going to cut 2 other pieces, and these are going to be 4. Let's do this one right here. So 4 by 9.5. Okay, same thing with the other one. 4 by 9.5, and we're going to score along the 9.5. We're going to score at 4.5 and at 9. 4.5 and 9, and then we're going to fold along the score lines, and these are going to be 2 more accordion folds. So fold here, and then let's bring this back, open and open, and we're going to add these 2 on top of the pocket here. Okay, so we're just gonna center those within the pocket, and those are gonna go right there. So I'm just going to add my glue, and we're gonna place this one here, press down, and then we are going to add the other one right here. Okay, and then press down and press down, and then so over here we're gonna have these other and double accordion folds, and then these 2 are going to close that, but then also this is going to serve as a little easel display right there. And then when you open these 2, you have a large pocket back here to put a large photo mat. So now let's just go ahead and add some magnets. Let's add our design paper. So I am going to start with this page here, and we're going to first cut this side. I'm going to do this at 4.5. Okay, and then this is going to be by 7.5. So I'm just gonna go really close to the edge here of the house so I can get the most of this image. Okay, so 7.5, and we're going to ink this all around. Just going to do that. Okay, and then we're going to cut the other side. I think I want the section here, and it's gonna be like a random cut, but I want the bird to show, like the fence with the bird here. Okay, so we are going to cut this like that, and I'm going to do this 7.5, and then we're going to do by 4.5 right here. Okay, and then just ink all around. Okay, and then we're going to open this up, and these are going to go here on this gatefold page like that. Okay, so let's glue this, and I'm not putting magnets on this section here. I think just the weight is gonna keep it close. So we're just gonna go ahead and glue this. Okay, so it's gonna go right there, and this one. Okay, so that can go right there. So cute. Okay, so just press down. Okay, so that's gonna be the center, and then we're gonna close this and close this up, and we're gonna add magnets on this section here. So I'm going to add 2 magnets on this side. Okay, so let's do one here, and we're going to add the tape. Okay, so let's cut 2 pieces. There we go, and then we're going to add the magnets on the other side here. Okay, so let's add this, and then we're going to close. So let me just add some glue here. And then when you close this, you want to keep these 2 gussets perpendicular. Okay, so now just about there, and then just press down on your tape. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so now we're going to add the paper on this page. So I'm just going to press down on the tape and press down. Okay, so I know I want to use this page here, and I want the Christmas tree to show on this side, and then I want the animals to show on the other side. So I'm gonna have to cut it a weird way, but let's see how this comes out. So I'm going to cut these, stick this out here. This is going to be 7.5, but I'm going to start from the top of the Christmas tree and then count 7.5. Okay, and then I'm going to cut the animals so the animals are centered on this side, and this is 5 inches. Let's just double check. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to cut 4 3/4. Oops, let's put that on the side. Okay, so 4 3/4. So I'm gonna start at the edge of the rabbit here. Okay, and then count 4 3/4. So that is going to be my page, and I'm just going to ink. Okay, and we're going to, oops, drop that, it's okay. And we're going to start by just gluing this piece right here. Okay, so let's add that right there. So press down, and then we're going to add the Christmas tree on the other side. Okay, so we're gonna need to complement the side there, but I think that looks really cute. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure that my magnets are strong enough for this section. Okay, or I might need to add one more at the center. I think I'm just gonna add one more magnet at the center here. Okay, just in case. So we're gonna add another magnet here and tape. And then we're just going to close this again and add that magnet here and press down. And now I'm ready to glue this. So I'm just going to ink all around. Okay, and we're going to glue this side. Just remove the tape, and we're going to add this piece right here. Okay, and then for this side we can always complement with some of our leftovers. Like this could actually work over here if we place that like that. So I'm just gonna cut it smaller, right, and then that can be right over here. So just a little bit off, and we can place that right here, or we can do it like that. Just complement with anything here. So I'm just going to use this piece okay, and then we're going to glue this down. And that will go right there. And there you go. And that's okay that it's a combination here, because you don't really see that section there. Oh, I love how this looks. Okay, so now we're just gonna glue this onto our book, and I'm just gonna open this up, and we're going to place this piece here on the left side. Before I do that, I am going to add my little seam binding here for the closure. So I'm just gonna cut this in two, and we're going to add one over on this side. Okay, so that's, and then we're going to add the tape over here too, just to secure. And there we go. And now we are just going to glue this whole thing here. I'm going to add glue. Okay, and I put this on top of my ink and it got a stain there, but that's okay. Luckily it only went there. Okay, so now we're just gonna place this right here, and that is going to be our side 8. So I'm just going to open everything up so I can press down right over here like that. Okay, whoops, and there we go. Okay, and then I'll continue adding the paper later, but that is going to be side A, and next we're going to be working on the other side.